Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Like Mike. This is the 2002, wow, it's over 20 years old, 2002 film. It's an hour and 41 minutes long, and it stars Shad Moss. You know who Shad Moss is. Shad Moss is Lil Bow Wow. So, yeah, okay. I didn't know just by looking at him. Just assumed it's Little Bow Wow. I just figured it's a kid who likes to play basketball, or is a kid who's an actor who likes to play basketball, plays a character who likes to play basketball. It doesn't matter. It's Little Bow Wow starring in this film, along with scores of popular basketball players from that era, from 20 years ago. I don't think any of them are still playing, but either way, the Mike in the title of this film, of course, refers to Michael Jordan, considered one of the greatest of all times, if not the greatest of all time in basketball players. I know this because I've heard of his name. And I recognize a number of other basketball players in here, but I'm not a basketball fan. I don't know basketball well. I've never seen a professional game. I live here, and we got two teams in Los Angeles, the Clippers and the Lakers, and yes, I knew that. I didn't have to look that up. But it's, strangely enough, in this film, it's the Knights that are the LA team. Even though there's a reference to the Lakers in this, like, when they're talking about other teams, they mention the Lakers, and they mention Kobe. So, yeah, it's kind of an interesting situation here, but is this team not? I'm guessing they're meant to not be the movie replacement for the Lakers. They might be the movie replacement for the Clippers. I don't know. Either way, the Knights is the local LA team, and Lil Bow Wow, who plays Calvin, is an orphan. That seems like two very separate things, but no, he's an orphan who, amongst others in the orphanage, played by Jonathan Lipnicki, his best friend, the kid with the human head weighs 8 pounds from Jerry Maguire. Yeah, him. He looks slightly older than he does in that original film, but yeah, he's in this. Brenda Song, who will become, I don't know if she is at this point, but she will eventually become a big Disney icon, Disney Channel star, basically. Even though this, by the way, this is a 20th Century Fox film, but it very much feels like a Disney Channel film by the end, toward the end. It's wish fulfillment for kids who love basketball. Honestly, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is a big old fantasy film for kids who are obsessed with basketball, and I completely get that. Everybody should have a movie where they can live through the experiences of the hero and put themselves in that place and go, man, that would be totally great if I could be a 4'8" tall kid who somehow gets to play professional basketball. And how does he get to play professional basketball? Well, he gets some sneakers from the Salvation Army that the nuns bring to the orphanage, and he just happens to be Nikes, a little worn, a little beat up, and and I don't know where Michael Jordan grew up, but he played for the Chicago Bulls, but I don't know, at some point these sneakers came into circulation at the store, and they just happened to have the initials MJ on the inside, which makes Calvin go, "Whoa, what? These could be Michael's." Out of the billions of Nike sneakers out in the world. Honestly, if I think I had some pretty good basketball sneakers, I would probably put MJ in them just to mess with people the moment I get rid of them. Yeah, it makes sense. Anyway, he finds these sneakers. It's not enough that they just have to say MJ in them. After getting bullied by Jesse Plemons as a child, Jesse Plemons is a small kid in this thing. He's still bigger than Lil Bow Wow. This is well before he starts becoming a pretty well-acclaimed actor in various dramas. He was in Breaking Bad. He was in Fargo. He's married to Kirsten Dunst, I believe. And yeah, he plays pretty good bully in this. Anyway, the bully, Ox, throws the sneakers up over the electric line, and they just hang there in the middle of a storm. And of course, he gets the idea, Calvin gets the idea that he's going to get the sneakers back because they are from Michael Jordan. And of course, he does it during a lightning thunderstorm. And of course, electricity zaps the line as the sneakers are touching them, as he's touching the sneakers, and he falls to the ground, and they're just crackling with energy. They're not on fire as they probably should be, or probably would be. I don't know. It depends on how well grounded he was or not when he was touching them. He should be dead also. But maybe there's a really good chance there could be a really dark fan theory of this where he literally did die, and this is just the final moments of his brain just making all of his dreams come true in the final moments. It's super dark. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for even mentioning that. Either way, he suddenly feels that when he puts these on, that he can jump higher. He can just outmaneuver all sorts of people on the basketball court. Of course, he only gets to test that when he somehow gets tickets from the coach of the Knights, which I'm not going to go. I don't want to tell you the whole film. It's just there's no sense of me telling you the whole film. But he gets tickets with his friends, and they go, and he gets his ticket picked to face off against one of their main players, played by Morris Chestnut. What is his name? Tracy Reynolds. And Tracy Reynolds is kind of done with this promotion. The people aren't coming out of the games, but he's doing it, and by the way, the promotions guy, Eugene Levy. There are so many stars in this. Oh, by the way, the coach, Robert Forster. So there's a ton of people in this. Oh, by the way, the person who runs the orphanage, Crispin Glover. Yeah, the dad from Back to the Future. Not Back to the Future 2 and 3, because he wouldn't come back for those for his own reasons. There's videos out there, plenty, telling about how that worked. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, but and articles too. But they usually contain the videos where he talks about it. He's playing the very sort of cruel child services manager, not child services, but the orphanage manager kind of guy, who's really using the kids to sell candy out in the street outside of Staples Center. By the way, you get to see Staples Center before they did a lot of reconstruction around there with all the restaurants and shops and everything else. It's in downtown LA. I've been there plenty of times before. Downtown LA is fairly well represented, especially when the team goes, out of town and does games away from home. They're always in LA. Every single scene, like, oh, maybe we're playing in New York, or maybe we're playing in Austin, or maybe we're playing, wherever there's a basketball team, they're playing out of LA. It's always LA. I'm just telling you this right now. When they go to the drugstore, I believe it's a drugstore right down the street from the Fox Studios lot. I'm pretty sure I've driven by it, that Rite Aid. I'm pretty sure. So anyway, it's silly. Oh wait, by the way, there's a big chase scene at the end, which this is where it felt like, okay, this is a Disney Channel movie where, yeah, we have a ticking clock. Can he get the sneakers back in time to play the game? All this stuff, will he be able to win the game without the sneakers, score the winning point, whatever, all these things. It's super predictable. It's super cliche. It's super, everything you expect to happen in this thing absolutely happens. If you can just give me a list of 10 things, just by looking at this and the description here, you can list 10 things and I'll bet you money, if you really put thought into them, you'd be absolutely right. I'm just telling you, it's not surprising in any way whatsoever, but it's satisfying still. It's fun, and again, if you're a basketball fan, you get to see Allen Iverson, or I know there's a bunch of other. My brain is not remembering all the names of all the different basketball players, but there's a lot of them. And there are actual real teams, so the Nuggets and the Spurs and all the other actual real team names. And by the way, this is kind of produced through NBA Entertainment, So it is an official NBA product. So kind of like, I guess, I imagine that NBA was involved in Space Jam as well. I think. Anyway, this is there's one point that big chase I'm talking about. The orphanage apparently must be up in Echo Park area or Silver Lake, because the chase on scooters, chased by mobsters in cars. Yes, mobsters become involved at one point. If you had mobsters chase children through Echo Park on your list, well, yes, you win. But of course, this is all about, because this also has to do with an orphanage and kids wanting to, especially Calvin, wanting a family. He gets a lot of his dreams come true, becoming a professional basketball player, playing like Michael Jordan, just blowing people away, becoming a star player. People love him all around the world, but he's still something missing. He doesn't have a family. And he and his friends want to be adopted more than anything else. And they realize they're getting old and they're not the picks anymore. And Jesse Plemons says it pretty clearly. It's like, we're old dogs here, and the parents just want the puppies. They just want the little ones. And I honestly don't know if this is how it works or even worked 20 years ago, but man, those orphanage open houses, it just seems really weird. Like, do you show up to an orphanage and there's just children, well-dressed children, just sort of looking on longingly as you shop? Like couples just walking up, oh, this one's cute, let me touch this one, and let me do... It's so creepy. One of the funniest things that come out of that, though, is as creepy as it's just weird to me, is when Calvin realizes he does want to be adopted, but he's being blocked by Crispin Glover, the manager, who wants to make more money off of him. And he lets Crispin Glover choose who comes to see him. And there we get a bunch of really great cameo appearances by different actors. I will not ruin too many of them, but you'll see Julie Brown and Fred Armisen in a very short scene. Yeah, it's they play sort of new age parents, but you get a bunch of different cartoonishly silly parents that are vying for Calvin, to adopt Calvin. Eventually, there is a family. Early on in the film, he says he wishes that he could find a family kind of just like that kid that he sees on TV. Oh, it's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and toward the end, he finds a couple that is from Bel-Air, and he gets his dream because they want to adopt him. And it's Reginald Bell Johnson. You know him from a bunch of different things. He was the cop in Die Hard, amongst many other things. I think he was also... Was he also... No. Okay. Never mind. He was just... Yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff. You'll recognize him the moment you see him. Anyway, yeah. So this movie is, like I said, packed full of stars, packed full of basketball stars. And of course, Little Bow Wow does a few songs, mostly over the credits, and there's bloopers at the end. It's the kind of thing that anybody who loves basketball, if you have a kid that loves basketball, yeah, you can have a great time watching this. It's never going to surprise you, other than the fact that children are being chased on scooters by gangsters in cars. That I did not see that one coming. I didn't, but yeah, it's a neat little time capsule, especially. Oh, Anne Mara. Oh, I forgot Anne Mara. She plays a nun, but it's a very small part. She's barely in it. But man, I guess the NBA money with 20th Century Fox, they just spent the money to get some of these pretty great actors, pretty great comedic actors, especially, to just play the parts. And yeah, it's not a nickel and dime. I'm sorry, Disney Channel. Disney Channel knows their budget. As they may be Disney, but the Disney Channel movies don't exactly have big budgets. Not the budget of this. So, yeah. I say check it out. Honestly, if you like basketball, if a kid likes basketball, you can totally bond over this. You can totally help fuel that fantasy of going, man, wouldn't it be great to be a professional basketball player when I'm 4'8" and 13 years old? Yeah. Be kind of cool, right? I'm assuming I don't care for basketball. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
476.
476. 476 in the thus, maybe? 476. Oh, yep, it's in thus. The thus. These are movies and episodes that start with the word the, and it doesn't, that's how it's alphabetically listed. Yeah. This is a documentary series, I'm imagining, or maybe it's just one episode. I have no idea, but it feels National Geographic-y. But this could be interesting. The Greeks is what we're watching next. We're going to learn about the Greeks. Yeah. Kind of in that cradle of history and knowledge and wisdom and science and math and language and all sorts of stuff. I could be completely wrong. I just made all that stuff up. We'll find out tomorrow with the Greeks on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.